Do you guys remember how the DSA strategy, and this is what they will tell you, is to run socialists in the Democratic Party to pull the party to the left. Just as Democrats, we're gonna have the just Democrats that pull the party to the left. So we're gonna have a bunch of quote unquote socialists, and I cannot emphasize that enough because they really social democrats at best. And honestly, dude, they do a lot of damage to the social democrat name because
Yeah, I don't
Lula
even
is
know about that. I don't
like
even know about
Lula is
that.
social democrat. So I am being very, very generous when I compare that when I say they're a social democrat. Because even Lula being a social democrat acknowledges that we should not fund war in Ukraine, that we should not support the expansion of NATO. I got a story I may do Saturday or maybe Monday where Lula got in this argument with the German chancellor, and he met with the German people like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. And now Bloomberg and all these people are smearing him because he refuses to support the Ukraine war. And Lula is a social democrat. Like he's not anywhere as radical as we want him to be. So whenever we say that, we actually being very we've been very generous. But the idea is these people took what it means to be a socialist and dragged it to the right. So now you got a bunch of rab libs, you got a bunch of Western chauvinists, you got people who their goal is nowhere to dismantle capitalism. Their goal is not to get the means of production for the workers. Their goal is they just want government to do more stuff. That's not socialism. All government do stuff. They want government to do more stuff, so now they call themselves socialists. So now they took over this party, and since then, the party has voted to denounce socialism. So not only did the party not shift to the left, like you guys said it would, it continued to shift to the right by supporting war, supporting the police budget even more, by expanding on fracking, expanding on the DHS and ICE. So the party shifted to the right and now denouncing socialism. So anything you want to add, I'll let you share because that might.
Yeah. So picking up from where you left off, I think this is a good part to insert this. So the bill is denouncing the horrors of socialism bill, and Emma tweets it out, and she has the actual law where you can see the people who voted for it. But the reason for me, I wanted to talk about Ro Khanna and Hakeem Jeffries because these two have been presented as progressives by so-called progressives. I just did a segment, Nick, where I was talking about Ro Khanna being interviewed, Access Journalism segment, where Ro Khanna was being interviewed by David Sirota. David Sirota, who's supposed to be a bona fide progressive, is now vouching for a neocon who is calling himself progressive, but he is a clear neocon. And that giving him bona fides. And then Ro Khanna is saying Hakeem Jeffries in an interview with Brianna. Hakeem Jeffries. Oh yeah, he's in a progressive caucus. He's a progressive. What do you mean, Brianna? So you see how the Overton window, just because you want to latch on, you see how it latches on now by way of Ro Khanna. Hakeem Jeffries is a bona fide progressive, and look what progressives are saying. And all the masses of people who are aspiring to be progressive, they're understanding through politics. Now they're going, wow, well, if Ro Khanna's a progressive and Hakeem and they're okay with funding, well, I guess it's not that bad. So now you see how it's just it's not a big deal that funding Israel's not a big deal. Remember Ro Khanna and Hakeem Jeffries, they're progressives because David Sirota said so. Because Cenk Uygur said so. All of you guys had him on your show. Breaking Points brought him on. All vouching. This progressive. And look what they're doing.
Here. Now, the reason why we see this coming from Ro Khanna, the reason why we see the AOC speech, me and Glenn also were talking about this on Twitter as well. This is the result of the Bernie media industrial complex. What we're seeing right here. How many times has Ro Khanna been interviewed by these people? And granted legitimacy because they were so nice to Ro Khanna, right? So the progressives, Ro Khanna, and I use a quote progressive here. That's how they brand themselves. You have Ro Khanna, AOC, Ilhan. These people only would do conversations, and the funny thing is, not even at AOC. You see like Ilhan and Ro Khanna. AOC's too big for them, but a lot of progressives would do interviews in the Bernie Media Industrial Complex, and they're so used to them kissing their ass because they're so happy they got access. They're so used to this idea that came from the DSA left, where they're like, yeah, we know Bernie and them kind of disappointing, but why call them out when they're the best we have? They don't understand their role. So because Bernie and them is not used to being called out, now they're emboldened. We can do whatever the fuck we want. We might well go full sellout neoliberal. We might well win over the people who are hung up on us because we know the Bernie Media Industrial Complex and our friends will never turn against us. So they embolden this shit. But go ahead, CJ. I know you want to chime in.
Yeah, I just wanted to add this guy, Ruben Gallego. I think that's how you say his name, Ruben Gallego.
Who the fuck is
so
that
it's
guy?
three. Yeah, he's a. So how he became popular, and the NATO left and media have done videos on. Oh, a true progressive, Ruben Gallego is about to challenge. About to challenge the Arizona seat of who's the independent, the girl that just went from Cinema. He's a progressive he's the Democrat that's about to challenge for that Senate seat. And they've been pushing him. Two things. He is the cover story. Yes, he's the cover story on Real Sludge. If you read Sludge, is about uncovering corruption. He's a cover story. He's been inconspicuously voting against corruption, voting to have corruption. So I'll get to that part too. So these are progressives, Nick. So listen to this part. This person says seeing Ro Khanna and Ruben Gallego on the list is truly de-inspiring. I would assume that's what they're meaning by there, but de-inspiring. See what happens, what progressives do to the movement? Now look at her response though, Nick. Gallego's running for Senate, so everything he does has to be viewed through that lens. But somehow Ro Khanna has no excuse. You see what
what are you talking about?
Real time, Nick. Real time, we are seeing how the professional managerial class is trading off. They're saying, look, he's running, so he has to sell somebody out. Come on. But Ro Khanna's not running, so he has no excuse. Go ahead, Nick. I know you want to turn.
You said it perfectly. You guys see how electoral politics robs you of your principles? You guys see how the red-blue game robs you of your principle? Emma is so lost in the sauce. She's so engaged in the red-blue struggle. She don't care about anything. Anything. Stands for nothing. As to be expected for someone whose parents are corporate lawyers, apparently. Either way, she grew up rich. She also had no skin in the game. Sam Cedar had no skin in the game. None of the people had skin in the game. So this is as far as their analysis will go. Oh, well, they are in part of electoral politics, so we can expect them to screw you guys over as long as they give us good feels because they defeat the Republican Party. These are the people that lead in workers. And this is the same kind of thinking that led Emma Vigeland to praise Cuomo. Remember, she praised Cuomo.
Yeah, I remember.
Thank you, Cuomo. He's doing an amazing job during this pandemic. And guys, this was like in fucking March. Like after the story about him.
Clearly after that had already happened.
Yeah, and she was praising, like, this is someone who is unapologetically class loyal. Like, she cannot, I promise you that Emma cannot even define what it means to be a socialist. But she's
not ideologically. She can tell you some beliefs or some. They think. I swear to God, I hear these people. That's what they think.
I hear these people think about it. They think socialism is when the government does stuff. I want the government to fund healthcare, so I am a socialist. No, it's about seizing the means of production. Capitalist is an authoritarian model where the government funds capitalists, gives subsidies to the capitalists, where the capitalist owns the means of production, which is why we get no major change. We want to change the means of production. They're not socialists. And they convince people that these fucking suburban capitalists, these rab libs, they are somehow socialists. They are representative of the left. They are not. Michael Princey does a great lecture. I covered it before, where he explains the difference between a Bernie Sanders leftist and someone who's a socialist or communist. We have Bernie Sanders and Emma Vigeland. Their big idea was not necessarily a bad one, is to tax the rich. They say tax the rich. We got to tax the rich And Michael Parenti, he's like, why the fuck are you legitimizing the capitalist mode of production? Fuck taxing them. We need to seize the mode of production. Then, by taxing them, you are legitimizing their income that is not legitimate. And this comes from Michael Parenti. And that's his criticism of Bernie. And that is the difference between the Emma Vigeland socialists and the real fucking deal. But go ahead, CJ.
So I'm curious now. This is just pure curiosity, just to get your thoughts on on this. This is just all pure curiosity. These so just to briefly kind of look at headlines from the different media outlets about this story. So here is Mediaite, quote, fake, funny, and fraudulent, end quote. Hakeem Jeffrey takes anti-socialist resolution very personal at fiery presser. Oh, so I haven't seen this presser, so maybe I should look up a video, so maybe something's out.
Dude, I'll tell you, when that video go, I think it just happened. Once that video go around, holy crap, dude, there's no way that's not cringe. And by the way, the person that the squad voted for, Hakeem Jeffries, he literally said he used identity politics to attack democratic socialism. I've read the quote before. We was like, "Yo, I am a black man fighting against this white supremacist society, and I will never kneel to democratic socialism." And they voted for him willingly, knowing he said that.